Hello everyone, and welcome to this audio podcast. This audio podcast as part of the Spur episode. This audio podcast as part of the Shriek and Beam. This audio podcast is part of the Lab Squad and Gorilla, and this audio podcast is part of a Storm Robotics production. In this audio podcast, an overview in on some fantastic works by science, sorry, by pharmacology student Charlie Jefferson or C. Jefferson from one of the academic institutions in the Midlands in the United Kingdom. And the works that the student did, C. Jefferson had done, looked at in around the pharmacological aspects and linking into elements of one particular therapeutic and its use in context of an opioid that is used or has been used or utilized to has been used or has been prescribed to healthcare service users as a form as a therapeutic for chronic pain and chronic pain and aspects of terminal illnesses. So the C. Jefferson did a detailed overview of the pharmacotherapeutic Oxycontin. And so this audio podcast, this audio podcast and the Spur episode under Storm Robotics Productions will just look into a little bit around this. This will be a sort of a one-off sort of audio podcast in around this. So since the late 1990s, the United States had been battling an opioid crisis. In the late 90s, around 1996, a pharmaceutical organization or pharma introduced Oxycontin to the market, making over a billion dollars by by in around the new millennia. Oxycontin is a sort of the prolonged release formulation of oxycodone, a semisynthetic opioid used for pain relief, intended for the use for chronic pain and terminal oncological conditions. Advertised as it was advertised, or as having a less than sort of sort of 1% addiction risk. Oxycontin began being routinely prescribed by primary by primary care physicians, leading to about 316,000 prescriptions in 1996 alone. This overprescribing would later go on to cause abuse and increased rate on heroin related deaths. Mu delta and kappa opioid receptors found in the central and peripheral nervous systems, RG protein coupled receptors or GPCRs. And when oxycodone binds to either of these receptors, guanosine diphosphate or GDP is converted into its active state of guanosine triphosphate or GTP, which inhibits adenylate cyclase and causes a reduction in cyclic adenyl monophosphate or ACAMP. This in turn results in a reduced relapse of neurotransmitters responsible for pain signaling, such as glutamate and acetylcholine, dopamine, and GABA and noradrenaline. Oxycodone's mechanism of action provides analgesic, sedative, and euphoric effects. Pharma in around Pharma in around 2007 discusses some of the pharmacokinetics in the insert for Oxycontin, and the data in around this will not be iterated, but suffice to say, in C. Jefferson's work, there's an overlook on some of the a sort of an overview in some of the pharmacokinetics of Oxycontin, looking at bioavailability, plasma concentration, absorption, half-life, distribution, metabolism, elimination, half-life, the excretion, and total plasma clearance. Side effects of oxycodone include have been informed as having have been in varying, as well as where some of the side effects of oxycodone from Oxycontin have sort of links to various other symptomologies. In amongst the literature, it has been where some investigator had looked at the reasons why, or some of the bases on reasons why Oxycontin had such huge success between 1996 and 2001, and the author had informed that over 5,000 healthcare professionals had attended an all expenses paid and paying conferences organized by the particular pharmaceutical organization or pharma, and that company, the organization also targeted physicians who were found to already be prescribing opioids in high frequency, using sales representatives who were given annual bonuses ranging from anything from $15,000 to $240,000. Recipients who were in receipt of Medicaid could purchase 180 milligrams Oxycontin for $3, but in areas of low socioeconomic backgrounds, recipients were selling the tablets at prices close to $1 per milligram, leading to the burglary of pharmacies. After Oxycontin-related hospital admissions increased from 6,429 in 1999 to 18,409 in 2001, it was evident that the drug's popularity, the pharmacotherapeutic popularity among recipients, was due to its abuse potential and not for its prescribed advantages. Many recipients experienced a noticeable decrease in the effects of a pharmacotherapeutic following prolonged administration of the same dose, leading to the crushing and dissolving of the therapeutic, allowing it to be inhaled, swallowed, and injected, meaning abusers could get an intense high from the now highly potent opiate. Pharmaceutical organization in 2007 warned that taking a broken or chewed or crushed Oxycontin pharmacotherapeutic could lead to rapid release and absorption within the within the uh, the uh, the uh, the information insert or leaflet provided with prescriptions of OxyContin. The pharmaceutical organization had inadvertently advertised with their own packaging how to within their own packaging how to abuse the pharmacotherapy, but and so between on how to abuse the pharmacotherapy. And between 96 and 2010, the pharmaceutical organization exhibited signs that they valued profit over recipients' welfare of patients outcomes, and in doing so, tarnished their reputation and ignited the start of an ongoing decades of long opioid epidemic. So while the FDA had approved OxyContin for use in '96, the increased reports of abuse and addiction led to the citing of the pharmaceutical organization for using misleading advertisements which violated the FDA Act in around the FDA Act, and from 1938. The FDA, among other responsibilities, regulates the advertising of prescription pharmacotherapeutics, ensuring they are truthful and accurate. In 1998, an advertisement video was distributed by the pharmaceutical organization without submitting it to the FDA for approval. When later submitted in around 2001, the FDA reviewed in 2002 and found that the video minimized the pharmacotherapeutics risks and made false claims. In 2010, OxyContin was replaced with an abuse deterrent formulation, which prevents healthcare users from crushing prevents healthcare service users or abusers just sort of pharmacotherapeutic abusers from crushing and dissolving the pharmacotherapy for fast absorption, causing abusers to seek other methodologies to get their desired effects. For many, this became heroin. The switch to heroin abuse resulted in a rapid increase of heroin-related death since 2010. The President's Commission on Combating Drug Addiction and Opioid Crises in 2017 found that the FDA had been at fault in the crises due to its inappropriate oversight, and the National Academy of Sciences called them to change the opioid policies. However, they remain unchanged. In around July 2025, the FDA announced that it was making changes to how prescription opioids are labeled to emphasize the risks, such as including surmised research, investigation, analyses estimating addiction risks, stronger dose warnings, clearer limits on sustained usage, and emphasizing or elaborating the long-acting and prolonged release opioids should only be considered when all other treatments of pharmacotherapeutics are unsuccessful. The regulatory body also announced a crackdown on pharmaceutical companies with descriptive advertising to prevent or preclude the concealment of safety risks in advertisements, hopefully boosting public trust. And finally, in as part of C. Jefferson's work, some fantastic work that have been done, that have been that have been articulated. The conclusion in around this is where had OxyContin been more sort of tightly regulated and marketed honestly, then it may have told a different story in the time of the opioid crises. Whilst causing catastrophe, or while causing catastrophe, it also shined a light on a regulatory on regulatory loopholes and the flaws in ethics of the pharmaceutical industry. It is important that responsibility is taken by both regulators and pharmaceutical organizations or companies to ensure the best patient outcomes and reserve trust. That draws this audio podcast to a close. This audio podcast as part of the Spur episode. This audio podcast as part of the Shriek and Beam. This audio podcast as part of the Lab Squad and Gorilla. This audio podcast as part of a Storm Lobostics production.